Thank you to Crystal for coming on. That was fun. Now let's get into a recap. Let's have fun. Let's be silly. Let's go into the weekend with a little bit of positivity as we completely make fun of these women. But we'll try to, reveal some greater truths as well, potentially. You know what I was just thinking after watching the Traders and getting so pumped up after watching it is that good TV brings people together. Even Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, even Vanderpump Rules, when it's good, it really is so exciting. It's so fun to talk about. It's so fun to laugh about. It's so fun to hear other people's thoughts. I mean, I read so many of everybody else's thoughts, and it's so exciting. Even when I disagree, it's just fun that it gets people going. I mean, there's so much misery out there that it is fun when we can all kind of band around a show, get together, shoot the shit and just I don't know. I just love it so much. It is just truly one of the best things in my life. And I think for some of you it's the same way. So wow, let's chop it up. Let's have fun. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, I realize I've been wearing the same hat now for like weeks. I need to get a new hat. I love this fish lid. But yeah, it's just I kind of grab and go. And also, I don't get to read all my YouTube comments, but I did read one saying, "Oh no, it looks like you're growing your beard again." It's not that. I just don't really think a lot about my appearance. In fact, I just try not to think about my appearance and just go with the flow. So yeah, I'll probably shave it down. I don't know. Everything's I watch a lot of TV and I talk about it. And speaking of that, I can't wait even for Monday's episode. I mean, people say I release a lot of content, but I do, but there's so much to talk about. Like the thing is, I could release 4 more episodes tonight if I had the energy, because there is even more stuff about Vanderpump Rules I want to talk about in regards to their after show and information that's come out, and Tom Zanzival dating somebody new. And I mean, there's just so much. There's stuff going on Real Housewives of Miami, Lisa Hochstein's wild performance on that boat. So many things to talk about, and there's just not enough time. I mean, there just truly isn't. But that's good. It's a good problem to have. So, anyways, this is Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I want to thank Juliana Carrozza, who took the fabulous notes on this. Laura Beth Harp took the notes on Salt Lake City. She is now retired for the season. She was so excellent. We did a Patreon conversation last Friday, me and her, and just had a blast. And hopefully Juliana Carrozza will come on at the end of Beverly Hills season and do a wrap up with me about this season of Beverly Hills. And I got to tell you, taking notes it is the shittiest job out there. And I was doing it again for Vanderpump Rules, and it just sucks because it makes you hate the characters even more when you are having to type out exactly what they're saying. It is just I remember the days when I could just watch with my just eating a block of cheese in my undies on in the bed. By the way, this is how sad. By the way, talking about my appearance, this is how sad it's gotten. Factor Meals is one of the sponsors on this show, and they sent me like a box of Factor meals, and it's really actually good because it's like 2 minutes in the microwave, and it's actually really good. This isn't an ad, I swear, but it's really good. But I just spilled a big thing of Parmesan chicken over under like on my shirt, and then I went down to record right now, and I was like, do I change my shirt? Like it was even that bad where I was like, oh, come on, man, get a grip on yourself, get a hold of yourself. Yeah, change your t-shirt, doofus. Because I'm just, yeah, just spill. Yeah, I'll save that for later. Sure, no problem. But anyways, Juliana Carrozza, thank you so much. As always, this is season 13, episode 14, Aches and Spains. LOL. Aches and Spains. Did you see what they did there? Pain, Spain, because they're in Barcelona for their trip. This is the second episode in Barcelona. And where we left off last week was Crystal Kung Minkoff was having a medical emergency. And I think, and what Crystal said, listen, Anna Marie Wiley, I know you've been having a rough go of it lately, but listen, I mean, you did come for Crystal. And you also, I want to remind everybody, said, oh, you should be thanking me for making your ass relevant again. Like, I'm sorry. I don't feel bad when people say shit like that to somebody else. You almost killed poor Crystal. Are you kidding me? But I am sorry if she feels like she's getting a rough go of it. But it is interesting because these reality shows tend to bring out some part of your personality or persona that I would imagine other people in their real life have noticed, but never have really fully called them out on. And so when you put that in front of a mass audience, it becomes really apparent and all of a sudden they are hit with so much truth. Because what I've said, even if you are getting a bad edit, usually the camera, by some weird alchemy, can pick up the truth behind your eyes, can pick up what's going on out there. So it's got to be hard sometimes to be hit with how you might carry yourself in the world and how that might not actually work when you actually put that out there and realize, oh, there's some real issues. And there's two ways to go about it: is doubling down, which Anna Marie has seemed to do this season, or actually learning from your behavior. And that's always why it's interesting to see these housewives come back for a second season, even though I don't really want Anna Marie to come back. But it is interesting to see if it does change them. Now, she was on Watch What Happens Live this past week, and she was softer. She could tell she was really excited to be there. But still, the anesthetists and the CRNAs and all of these medical terms, you're fighting with like boards and stuff. It just feels like more doubling down. And it's kind of Tom. Well, I keep using Tom Sandoval, but it's one of those things, like he's doubling and tripling and quadrupling it down. And at the same time, he's trying to put out this thing of like, no, dude, I am sorry. I love her, dude. Fuck her, though. Like, you can't say that in the same breath. So there is a certain type of person that just is so rigid in terms of in terms of ever admitting fault, because in their mind, they think it's admitting defeat. And admitting fault isn't admitting defeat, because life isn't completely win or lose. There are so many shades of gray, and there are so many opportunities to learn. And you either take these like kind of real big hiccups in your life as a chance to learn, or you don't. And we see with Tom, with that Nick Viall interview, it seems like he is not. And also, I would say that for that 8 months that he was sober, it seems like that potentially was better for him than to start drinking again. Because now I've heard a handful of stories about Mr. Sandoval drinking outside of anything on camera. And all these stories, they don't seem good, talking to the people that have talked to him when he's been drinking. And I just hope he would actually consider, until all of this blows over, to maybe continue on that path. Because when you drink and things are going wrong, it makes you become more indignant and stubborn, and bad things can happen. So yeah, that's my PSA for tonight. Okay, here is the description of this episode that the cable company gives us. Hearts race after Crystal's medical emergency. That's a very clever turn of phrase, because she had high blood pressure. But nurse anesthetist Anna Marie comes to the rescue. I hate to be all negative, Nelly, but comes to the rescue. I mean, she sat with Crystal for a second. Listen, it was like Patch Adams. She put on a little red nose and was like, honk, honk. Dorit opens up to Garcelle, allowing the two to finally move forward. And then Erica gets tipsy ahead of dinner. Now, right off the bat, I ain't too proud to say that Erica getting tipsy at dinner was, for me, my favorite part of the episode. It was great. And when Erica is drinking and she's not feeling threatened, because we've seen her plenty of times, including last season in Aspen, like, fuck off, fucking victims, fuck you. Like, when she drinks and then comes at the victims, it's not a good look. But when she drinks and she doesn't feel under attack, it actually leads to some really funny scenes. And I don't know what that even means when I say it. I don't think I'm encouraging drinking, but I will say, if somebody's drinking and they film it, it usually sometimes turns out to be entertaining to watch, because, Vanderpump Rules, pretty much everybody in the cast is not drinking except for Tom Schwartz, right? And I mean, I'm sure Sheena can knock back a beer or two, but wait, you know what? Now that I'm thinking, have we ever seen Sheena shit-canned wasted? I should have asked her that the other day. Damn, there's got to be. It's escaping me, but I'm curious. Have we ever seen her out of control wasted? Anywho, um, also, did you see The Housewife and the Hustler Part 2 on ABC is coming out soon? And they use like the Bravo docket and Kate Casey and Kiki Monique, like you great talking heads. I'm really excited to see that. And we get to see a little bit of Erica with the victims as well. So I'm really curious how that's all going to be out there. And remember, there is new information to be talked about, because Tom Girardi, we did this news story a couple weeks ago, was found competent to stand trial. We are getting a Tom Girardi trial. He was found competent by the courts to stand trial. So there is lots of new information to talk about in regards to this story. But overall, though, I'm saying this like I said it with Tom. When Erica Jane starts hammering down on, I need apologies to me, I think that is completely the wrong route to go. It starts making you completely unlikable again, because at the end of the day, even if you weren't the one cheating the clients, you were still spending the money from those misbegotten funds. And you were still, at the end of the day, your intentions were still shady just because you knew the marriage you were getting into. You might not have known he was a full blown criminal, but like you weren't on some kind of moral high ground to begin with. So when you want people to then kiss the ring and apologize, it's like, just be happy they're not talking about you anymore. Just be happy with the fact that, things are little by little going in your favor. But when you then expect people to kneel down, bow down, kiss this ring, this and that, it is not, it's just like Timberlake. It's just like, why? You're escaping, you're escaping the claws of death in certain ways. Just appreciate that. That is your reward. That is your apology. Like, did people have to apologize to O.J. Simpson when they found him not guilty? No. O.J. Simpson was like, oh shit, I'm free. Are you kidding me? Like, like just be, I don't know. That's the part where Erica loses me. Like, I will never be a full-blown Erica stan, but I'll also be able to say when she is enjoyable. But when it gets into that kind of shit, when she had a couple lines this episode even of like, I'm still upset. People aren't apologizing to me, Erica Jane. It's like, are you kidding me? Just be thankful you are here in Barcelona right now. Being able to get drunk off the sweet nectar next to Sutton, who has a person's cremated remains next to them. That is a little slice of heaven. Okay, we start off as we always do with scenes from previously on Real Housewives of Barcelona. We have Sutton to all the women. Do you want to come to Barcelona? And then Sutton to Avi, like, I'm bringing Mus. And we found out that she's like, I looked up to Mus, and he was a god. I want to release these ashes and make that a really meaningful trip. I say. And we find out that Sutton, one of her mentors was this iconic dance choreographer, dance teacher, just this amazing, legendary man was somebody that that really helped her when she was coming up in New York, which I thought was fascinating. I didn't really know much about the gentleman until this episode. And then I was just reading certain articles about him and his dude, John Cage, and all of this fascinating history. He really was the shit. I mean, amazing. Then we have a scene with Kyle at Sutton's boutique anniversary from earlier in the season going, I would like to fix things with you because I care about you. And Sutton's like, me too. And then Sutton and a talking head like, oh, we said some really terrible things, I say. And one of the things in the flashback was Sutton going, well, you've already lost 2 sisters, Kyle. You want to lose a third? And Kyle going, go fuck yourself. And then Sutton and the talking head going, well, we're both going to have to start our friendship anew, I say. I do want to say also that I realized my Sutton imitation at this point has gotten not even close to anything that she actually sounds. It is completely that, by the way, friendship anew, just the imitation is anew. Then we go off to Barcelona. Kyle's taking selfie videos. I'm like, you guys excited to be in Spain? Even though I didn't bring my bestie, Morgan Wade? And then we at Villa, we met the young chef Storm. He's like, I am Storm. I am your chef. And Garcelle's like, we can tag team him. And Erica's like, anytime you want. Which, by the way, that scene from last week is still creating a lot of weird nightmares for me. Erica then in a scene is like, the district court reverses the bankruptcy court's turnover order regarding the earrings. And then Garcelle and Crystal are just like, okay, cool. And Erica in a talking head's like, I do need you to acknowledge that what I said would happen is happening. Yes, sure. But also we do have to also agree that the legal system is a very wild and wacky place. It's not sometimes that you know what I'm saying. Anyways, now Crystal to Dorit in a scene is like, do you think that I would call myself a socialite? Because we had that whole toss up where Anna Marie Wiley is saying that she met Crystal originally at a party where she thought of herself as a socialite and said all of these people were dummies and she was smart. And Anna Marie's like, but it goes back to like, and Crystal's yelling, let me ask her the question. And Anna Marie's like, you're acting like a hormonal teenager. And Crystal's like, then in the last scene of last week, I need to get out of the car, look at my veins. And she's like, what's happening to me? And Son's like, you're going to be okay. And if not, I'm going to throw you off with Merce's ashes. And then Anna Marie in a talking head's like, Crystal needs to be taken to a hospital right now. And Kyle's like, I'm going to call 911. Now, the episode opens with bouncy music, even though we left off there. And it's like, and we see amazing Barcelona scenery. And then Crystal, we're back on her. And she's like, I just feel dizzy. And Anna Marie's like, squeeze my fingers, squeeze on both sides. And Crystal's like, they feel tingly on top. These are like stroke-like symptoms. And Anna Marie's like, we are going to get somebody here. And then Dorit in a talking head's like, she's gray. She's sweaty. She looks like PK. Her hands are swollen like the king's. Her veins are raised. Beep boppy boop. What if something is truly wrong with her? And then Dorit's like, in the scene, she's like, you're supported. Everyone's here. Do not worry, which is great because then like 5 minutes from now, they just leave Crystal and go on a shopping trip. Anna Marie's like, we're going to get somebody here for you really, really soon. Okay, let's go lay in the van. Garcelle and Anna Marie help Crystal up and they walk her to the shade of the van so she can lay down. And Anna Marie in a talking head's like, this is not just a lay down and drink some ginger ale and walk it off kind of situation. It is just not. And Crystal is quietly crying. She's like, I'm so sorry, you guys. And Anna Marie's like, no, Crystal, it's not a situation to feel sorry about, Crystal. And Dorit's also trying to reassure her of like, ooh, ha, honestly, Crystal, when we know you're okay, we will sightsee. Which, like I said, they did sightsee 5 minutes from now. Like, I don't even think they fully really like made sure she was okay. Anna Marina talking to heads like, but like, given that Crystal repeatedly insulted and degraded my profession, which is just not, I mean, like, my God, now is not the time at all. Are you kidding me? Get all these flashbacks again of Crystal saying, did you go to medical school? Blah, blah, blah. And then Anna Marie continuing a talking head. The irony of what is happening right now is literally shocking. No, it isn't, Anna Marie, because you aren't doing dick except for like just being a generally nice person. Like, my God, it's not like you're like hooking her up to an IV or anything. You just said you got veiny hands. Anna Marie to the ladies like, I don't want her to get up into a hyper intensive crisis or something and then stroke out, which is always a good thing to say around somebody that's actually in that situation and is already deathly afraid. Like, a thumbs up. And she's like, sorry, not like that would ever happen. Like, dude, once again, maybe you shouldn't have been a dick the night before. We hear sirens, the ambulance comes, and Eric is like, okay, here's the ambulance. Here we go. Okay. And two technicians from the ambulance began taking vitals on Crystal. And at this point, I'm shocked Eric and Garcelle aren't like, let's tag team them as well. You got it. You go first. Crystal is reciting her blood pressure reading. It is 177 over 108. I am about to do my own blood pressure, but I'm scared to do that. So Anna Marie, by the way, the normal blood pressure is 120 over 80, they say. And Anna Marie's like, here you go. They're speaking Spanish and they're like, the pressure is high, very high. And Anna Marie's like, do you want me to go with you? I don't want to leave you by yourself. I'll go with you. And the women all listen to production's concerns and suggestions off to the side. And I guess it was decided that none of the ladies would actually go with Crystal. Now, Sutton to Crystal is like, well, we're going to let you go so you can get treated and so we can all make paella together. Yeah, I love it. They're like, we've got to make paella, okay? Let's just try to make the paella. Well, I love you, I say. She's like, yeah, I love you too. And Dorit's like, Crystal, I'm sending you a big hug and kiss. You need anything? Whatever, just text us. I'm like, wow, that's getting the blood pressure down. Like, okay, we need to get her on some saline and we need 2 hugs and 1 kiss. So the ambulancia goes down the street and Sutton's like, well, let's go into the chapel real quick. Go light a candle. And Erica's like, I've already done this. I've already prayed to the saint. I've already done this shit. Spoken like a true religious icon. Just like, I've already done my prayer. I'm not double praying. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm Uncle Jane. And Sutton's like, well, but we're all going to do it as a group. So we're going to do a group prayer. I would love to have just been a random person in that church praying. And all of a sudden the housewives come in. Anyways, we get a quick flash of 30 minutes earlier when Erica was inside the church dipping her finger into holy water and burning a hole in her forehead as she touched it to her face, and a smoking hiss rose out of her ears and nose. Juliana, by the way, put that joke in there, and it is so... Oh, it's amazing. Anyways, Garcelle goes, okay, well, maybe we don't say shit about the church. And Son's like, yeah. And Eric and I talking heads like, I've had a chapel in my own house. I've been doing this for years. And then like it's like she yawns. And it's like, once again, religion is not supposed to be about this. And also, the fucking fact that you had a chapel in your mention just shows how fucked up it all was to begin with. And also, prayers don't work, obviously. Flashback to 2019, Erica giving a tour of her house to that friend of that used to be on the show. Freddie Mellencamp. And she's like, welcome to my chapel. Crazy, right? So Anna Marie's like, why are we cursing at church? And Eric's like, we're not cursing at church. We're cursing in church. I'm Erica Jane. And Dorit's like, what did church ever do to you, Erica? And she's like, a lot. And Anna Marie's like, oh, were you raised Catholic by any chance? And she's like, yes, I was. And Anna Marie's like, me too. And then Erica chuckles like, and Anna Marie's like, I feel you, girl. Erica and a talking head's like, I'm Catholic, baptism, confirmation, married in the Catholic Church, and there's no one here with clean hands. We're all sinners. Do we need God? Yeah. Is he coming? Certainly not for this group. No. Cheerful. Garcelle inside whispers, it's scary to go to a foreign country hospital. And Erica's like, I feel bad for him, but we're still going to go shopping. And Garcelle's like, well, me too. And Sutton to the group's like, well, so I think we can light a candle for our intention. And Dorit whispers to her ear, is it okay if I don't light a candle? And Sutton's like, yeah, you don't have to light a candle. Dorit and a talking head's like, the Jewish people don't pray in churches. I can set an intention. It doesn't have to be in the church, beep, boop, 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 boop. It can be out of the church, around the church, but setting in intention. You can do while brushing your teeth. And by the way, this talking head made me think, oh my God, I need Dorit to write a self-help book of like, you don't have to go to a church to set intention. You can do it while you're flossing. The ladies take a seat. Kyle kneels at the pew and prays. Some are lighting candles. There's intense music too. It's like, oh, it's kind of like the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, like, oh. And Sutton's like, oh, let's light one for my dad. And Sutton in a talking head reveals, she's like, being in a church is always a great way to get closer to God. And being closer to God for me means getting closer to my father. She's like, people talk about suicide, and in the Catholic Church, you go to hell. But I was raised Presbyterian, so I believe that he is not in hell. I think he's with God in heaven. And I will say this, in just terms of, I was raised Catholic as well. I was an altar boy, confirmed, all of that's, my actual full name, my confirmation name is Ryan Kyler Michael Bailey. And I do not go to church any longer, but I will say I would always go on holidays with mom and, for the big ones. And I would go back again just to feel closer to my mom, like it would be something. And when I do go to church next, and I will, what I do, and my dad will always remind me too, like when I was in New York, go into St. Patrick's Cathedral, light a candle, like they're doing here. I've done that a couple of times, and I will continue to do that for the rest of my life, because sometimes the traditions actually make you feel closer to that person that you miss so much. Anyways, Erica mumbles, she's like, down on those knees. Fucking weirdo. What? Like, Erica, we get, yeah, you're horned up, okay? And Anna Marie's like, I can't right now. Oh my God. Erica audibly sighs out loud and bored. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, boring. Erica and a talking head's like, my intentions in life are to pick up, rebuild, move forward, and be prosperous. I'm happy the appeal went in my favor, but I'm still hurt that no one has really come over to me and say, hey, I apologize. Did you want him to do it in the church? Did you want to be like, hey, we just lit this candle. By the way, I just wanted to say sorry because you keep filing appeals and one of those actually went through and you're going to probably lose that. But anyways, big apologies. We see that reality blurb headline, Erica Jane wins appeal over $750,000 earrings after her diamonds were auctioned off to repay victims of Tom Girardi's fraud. What happens next? And then we have a flashback to that argument in 2022 in Aspen with Crystal going, there's dead people that's money that's stolen from. That's a fucking fact. It's like, no, it's not. You're not letting the legal process play out. And sometimes I just feel like the legal process is sometimes really there to help the innocent or the wrongly accused. And sometimes it's there just to help people, Anyways, ugh. Anyways, Erica goes, well, they hurt me the most because I care about them. I don't think Erica truly gives a rip about these ladies, except that it is her livelihood to be around them. And I don't think she cares about them in a general, I think she cares about them in a general sense. And I don't think they hurt her the most. I just think they were the ones that actually had the most visibility in terms of talking about her case. And that's what hurt, the PR aspect of it. Anyways, Dorit is outside. What an amazing place to have a church, you guys. Woo! Sutton and Kyle remain inside, and this is actually a beautiful scene. Sutton whispers, like, being involved once, being involved, it gets me. A friend of mine dreamed about my dad the other day. My father said in the dream for me to know that I was right, that he was tired. And Kyle's like, your dad was tired. A psychic told me. Lorene, her friend that passed away, is telling you that she doesn't understand what's happened to her. So now they're both sharing these experiences also through psychics, but still really real experiences for them. For Sutton, her dad said he was tired at the end. And for Lorene, she doesn't understand what happened to her. And I didn't know what that meant. Did it mean like she doesn't understand what's happened to her, like where she's at in the afterlife, or why she got so depressed in the first place that it led to her death? Sutton's like, well, here's the thing, Kyle, you're never going to get those answers. And Kyle's like, never. I know that. And Sutton's like, well, just know that she's at peace now. That's the focus. And then this is beautiful. She puts her arm around Kyle and she's like, I'm sorry I haven't been a better friend. And Kyle's like, you have been a good friend. That's okay. I love you. And then Sutton goes, name them. Name how I've been a good friend. Name them. Name them. No, she doesn't. And I've just made a horrible joke, which undercut the powerful aspect of this scene. Like, it was really, truly a moment where, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is all bullshit, acting like this is about female friendship. But then you see a scene like this and you're like, no, you do kind of believe in it, and you do realize these are real people and going through real struggles. And like, yeah, I'm a softie, especially this year with everything that's happened, but this was a very real conversation to me, and it reminded me, like, and I can only relate with my own experiences. Like, you relate to it with your own experiences, but like, that's what I keep thinking. Like, okay, my mom's at peace now. My mom's at peace now. Because of these last couple of weeks, it weirdly raised its head again, like the grief part of it. And I just keep having memories of things that I'd forgotten from that last week when she was, and I think, it's just so weird, right? Like, I'm not going to, okay, let's move on. Anyways, and Kyle's kind of patting Sutton's legs. Really beautiful moment. And Sutton's like, I hate fighting with Kyle. So to have this moment and start to really rebuild our friendship means everything to me. And then she's like, I adore her. And she really, you can tell she means it. Even if sometimes I think she shouldn't adore Kyle, she does. Kyle in a talking head says, I care about Sutton a lot, and I was very hurt by the questions she was asking about my marriage. So I'm happy to accept her apology and move on because I'm much happier with our friendship being in a good place. Yeah, we always want things to be moving forward, right? Nobody wants to be stuck in a position of anger and hate. But I will also throw out there that Kyle was angry about the questions because there was actual stuff to be questioned about. And, that's part of being on the reality show that sucks, is that you do get called out on shit, and she didn't want to get called out on shit. Anyways, that's done. And Son's like, okay, y'all, let's go to lunch. Oink, oink. We're going to go to Barcelona. Fuck Crystal. If we have time, we're going to the market, maybe some shops. We'll see. How about that? And now they're driving in a Sprinter van when Anna Marie gets the call. And I bet, like, this is one of those things, like, they had to tell Crystal's story. So I wonder if producers like, you call right now. You call Anna Marie right now. And Kyle's like, oh my gosh, Crystal, how are you feeling? And Garza's like, how are you feeling? And she's in a hospital bed with a drip and a mask. And she's like, well, the anti-nausea medication definitely helped. And Anna Marie's like, good. Then what are they giving you right now? And Crystal's like, they're giving me a prescription. And Anna Marie's like, I know what that is because I'm in a medical field. Anyways, they're all just like, glad you're feeling better. Okay. And Crystal's like, okay, I'll see you soon. Goodbye, I feel better. And now they go to Old Town Barcelona. We see statues, buildings, all beautiful. They're dropped in Poble Español. And Anna Marie's like, look how pretty this is, though. And Dorit's like, wow. Now we see a street musician playing guitar and singing and greets them. And as they unload at the Sprinter, and his name is Manolo. And he is their guide. He's like, welcome to the Pueblo Español. It was built for the World Fair in 1929. You can go to the best place in the world for the Catalonian food. And all the, like, woo, yay. And Dorit asks his name, like, por favor, habla inglés. You know, Dorit, a child of the world, can speak every language. And he's like, Manolo is my name. And Dorit's like, ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo hablan? ¿Cómo? And like Manolo Blahnik. It's dumb. Anyways, Manolo is leading them down the narrow streets. We see all these floating umbrellas. All the ladies are just really in awe. And Kyle's like, "Donde está Hermes?" And it just kills. It gets a huge laugh. And Kyle's like, "When I travel to a new city, I like to find out where the closest Hermes is. And that's the center of town for me," which is kind of sad when you think about it. It's not any of the beautiful sights. It's like, where's the expensive store here that is similar to the expensive store I go to Beverly Hills? For me, though, it's true. I always look for like the Old Navy. For me, that is the center of any town I go to. So they arrive at the restaurant and, they're all sitting down and Manolo is like, gracias, gracias. And he's blowing them a kiss and leaves. And Garcel's like, he is such a character. I'm going to fuck him later. She did not say that, but I do love that now I'm getting a sense this season of how horned up Garcelle is. Like, the comments fly a little free. Like, I was like, Garcelle. Anyway, Son's looking at the menu. He's like, oh, look at here. There's pork feet. oh, goodness, there's pork feet. Yeah. And then Erica, you'd love pork feet. Yeah, we got pork feet on the menu. And Erica mumbles like, you should get that. They all order alcoholic drinks, and then Anna Marie's phone rings again. She's like, oh, it's my kids on their way to school. I love you guys. Daddy, I can't see you. And the ladies all laugh. They're like, do you say daddy to your husband? And she's like, when the kids are there, yeah. And then Dorit's like, no other time? And then Son's like, hey, daddy. Hey, I'm going to eat some pork. Yeah. Eric and the talking head's like, I've never called my husband daddy, but I called a few men lately daddy. I'm Erica Jane. I'm getting dick down. First off, that's a giant duh. Like, Erica used to do this all last season, would like hint around how much she's getting like fucked, And this is like a throwback to that of like, I got a few men. And by the way, yeah, she didn't call her husband daddy. She called him granddaddy. Are you kidding me? Also, I called a few men lately daddy. You probably called him the bank. Anna Marie finishes her call like, I love you guys. Bye. Eric in a talking head throws her head back and she's like, daddy, that's like when you're really getting it. Getting so much dick. This I wrote here in the note when I was watching this. I was like, oh my God, Erica should date Sandoval. Sandoval would be like, oh, dude, it's like the whipped cream theme from Varsity Blues, dude. This older lady that's like, she does beautiful music like I do with my band. She has a Vegas show. Could you imagine that? I'm like, yes, Sandoval, use my body, discover it, be an explorer. Yeah. Oh my God. So gross. But just even, listen, I just don't find Erica attractive, and maybe it's just because I dislike her personality, but I just are like, are like, is she considered like hot? And also, I've said that, like she is very gaunt, and especially at the very end with the drinking scene, it even comes off more. Like somebody wrote that she looked like Betty Davis a little bit, in like all of like what about Baby Jane? Or anyways. Anna Marie's like, let's toast. Let's just think about Crystal and, toast to health and try to enjoy the rest of our day. And hopefully she's back to the group soon. And Garcel's like, positive vibes. And Dorit's like, love it. And Son's like, cheers. And then Kyle's like, kind of interesting how you guys went from last night to today. And Garcel's like, I know. And Anna Marie's like, I take my profession really seriously and it's really like a part of me. Do you know what I mean? And Eric's like, I know you felt very bad not being able to go with her today. Also, Erica, yeah, I take singing and dancing professionally very seriously. I also take fucking older men seriously. Yeah, my profession. No, anyway, I just love this is like really like it was just basic niceness, but like I didn't think Anna Marie would be a dick to Crystal when her blood pressure's popping off. Like it's an easy. I don't know. Anyways, Anna Marie's like, I did. I felt horrible. Garcelle and I were talking this morning, because last night, the fake doctor and you're not a doctor thing, like, it's just really hurtful to me. And we get a flashback to that with Anna Marie's like, it goes back to like your insecurity thing, Crystal. And Crystal's like, the girl who calls herself a doctor who's a nurse. And Anna Marie's like, see? But I'm sorry, Anna Marie, when you are saying like, calling somebody the insecurity thing, and Anna Marie, even in interviews this week, was like, sorry, Crystal just wanted to have the career that I had. And I'm like, Bullshit. Bullshit. That's listen, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. Do I now get jealous when I see astronauts? Fuck no. Astronauts get jealous of me when they hear the podcast. But no, give it up. Whatever you tell yourself to move it along, I guess. But people have to tell themselves shit to make up for oh, it must be this. Or it could just be you're fucking annoying. I'm sorry, it could be just the fact that you called her insecure, called her out, called her a bunch of shit, talked shit, revealed things that you privately talked about. Could it be any of that stuff? Anyways, Erica's like, well, I think that all of that is in hindsight. Hindsight now, now that Crystal almost died. And Anne Marie's like, yeah. And Erica's like, I can't imagine her ever saying anything like that to you again. And Anne Marie's like, I think you're right, which is also bullshit. If Anne Marie does more crazy shit, I hope Crystal calls her out. And then Erica goes, and I think the twist of fate, that's the way life works. It would suck. I just think that's the way life works. My other thought during this is that when they were even having this conversation, I don't think these ladies realized how much the audience would dislike Anna Marie out of the gate. And I think they thought she was going to be a much bigger hit. I get that vibe. Even in this, nobody else truly was kind of on Crystal's side, maybe Sutton a little bit. And I think they almost thought Anna Marie, wow, she's really stepping forward. And when I saw them do that panel discussion at BravoCon, it was way before Beverly Hills even came out this season. And Anna Marie was talking all over the place. And I'm like, we don't know you. We don't know you yet. Why are you talking this much? We've got to warm up to you. You've got to and it just feels like she has lead character energy. She really wants to be a lead character. Garcelle goes, and I agree, Crystal's okay. I'm going to take this opportunity because Dorit and I had more than a hiccup. And I'm like, oh no, we're getting back into Dorit and Garcelle. She's like, there was something about how you talked to me, made me feel a certain way. And Dorit shakes her head oh shit. And, Garcelle continues. She's like, Taco Tuesday, which was a really tough night. I just felt like I left my body sometimes, I just felt like I left my body. And I was like, well, it could have been the spicy food, Garcelle. But we flash back to 1 month earlier when it's Dorit's like, you attacked me. And Garcelle's like, I did not attack you. Calm down. It feels like, back and forth. And then back at the table, Dorit's like, when I said that, I wasn't thinking about. And then Erica goes, race? And Dorit's like, yes. And Garcelle's like, well, that's my whole point. And Dorit's like, you called me a Karen. And we get a flashback to that lunch 3 weeks earlier where she does say it feels like an unconscious Karen behavior with you. So back at the table, Garcelle's like, well, I don't think anybody here is racist. And I can just say that. And Erica's like, no. And Garcelle's like, well, I don't think anybody here is racist, but there's certain things that make me feel a certain way. My opinion is that you have lived a very sheltered life and you don't understand the walk that I've had to walk. And Dorit's like, I really appreciate you saying all of this. And I feel like Dorit is her mind is working 100 miles an hour of what do I say? I wish Jagaloo was here to help me. She's like, I want to learn and know your plight. Just so you understand, this little bubble that I lived in what you believe is actually very different. My father is Israeli. We moved when I was very young because we lived in a town where we were the only Jewish people, and my brother and I, people were saying anti-Semitic remarks to us, which is really, really very serious. And they show us several photos of Dorit as a child with her siblings, her mother and her father. And Dorit in a talking head continues, some of my childhood memories were being teased and told, you're Jewish, why don't you have horns? I have known my entire life the adversities that I will face, my family has faced just because we're Jewish. And, especially with everything that's going on right now, I mean, so she is, trying to relay her own upbringing. And Dorita's like, I'm not by any means comparing. And Garcelle's like, I understand. And she's like, but I felt it was very much that it wasn't not a fair characterization of me. So if there's anything that I say or do that for whatever reason triggers you, please tell me, please, because I will make sure no matter what that I will never say or do it because I never want to do that. But in essence, didn't Garcelle kind of say that in that scene of you just called me angry, and didn't she call it out right there? But listen, I'm all for forward momentum. I'm all for moving forward. And Garcelle's like, listen, I believe that. Thank you for sharing this. And I think that's, if I can say, I know we talk about all the Birkins in the bag and the fashion, but this is the stuff that really bonds us. And Kyle's like, no, it's just the Hermes. No, but truly, this is the stuff that actually bonds us. And essentially, like I said, with that scene in the church, this is what it's truly supposed to be about. She's like, hearing your side of it, it's a human experience and you don't know what triggers someone because you don't know what they've been through. But also, Garcelle's now had, obviously weeks probably since that conversation. So she's even had time to cool down about it. But I will say, Dorit, when she gets put in these situations, whether they be the child bride comment from last week, she does not seem to sometimes think before what she says and think about everybody else's, including her own history when she says it. So Garcelle, like, listen, I think we can all learn. And Kyle's like, exactly. And Garcelle, like, listen, I'm still learning. I learned about you today. You know what I mean? I think we're all learning. And then directly to Dorit, she says, I'd like to get to know more. And at this point, like, are we still like, like I said, I'm all for forward momentum. Do we really believe there's more to get to know? I don't know. We'll see. Listen, who knows? Dorit and Talking Head's like, I'm really glad that Garcelle brought this up today. I think it allowed us to go far deeper than we have ever before. And that's really going to allow us to have a better, stronger, and deeper friendship, people, which is what I'm hopeful for. I just feel like this is Groundhog's Day. I feel like we've seen this scene with, I don't know. Anyways, Son's like, okay, ladies, I've got my fill of pork foot. My friends are coming to the house for dinner tonight. In a Talking Head, she's like, tonight, Trevor, my friend I've known since I was in my early 20s, and we see a picture, is going to come to join us. Trevor and I started with Musk Cunningham Dance Company at the same time, I say. He moved to Barcelona a long time ago, and I can't wait to see him. And he's bringing some of his architect friends, and this is going to be fun for me. And by the way, does Trevor have a little bit of Merce too? I feel like Merce is like Voltron, and there's just little pieces of Merce ashes everywhere. And it's like, we're going to bring them all together and form a whole Merce and then just send them out into the ocean. The ladies are walking back through the streets, and Garcelle's like, we can't go into any store. And then Sutton continues in the Talking Head. And I also want the ladies to know that a part of me that's not his, a part of me that's not this alimony collecting, gala going, vodka drinking, erratic, crazy lady that they think I am. I say, which by the way, alimony collecting, gala going, vodka drinking, erratic, crazy lady would be an amazing shirt. Like Sutton, if you're listening, or if one of Sutton's assistants is listening, Avi, if you're listening, make it a shirt, sell it at Sutton Concept. It's perfect. Alimony collecting, gala going, vodka drinking, erratic, crazy lady, like amazing shirt. Dorit to Sutton's like, you taking us out and not letting us shop. You should be ashamed of yourself, Sutton. You're a bad girl. I'm going to give you a spanking like little jackaloo. And Kyle spies a shop, Abanicos, and runs to go inside. Dorit sees her and grabs Sutton's hands, and they're in a fan store. It's like these beautiful hand-decorated fans, and I'm sure a lot of the women out there are like, ooh, but like, I'm sorry, man. This is the kind of shit that bores the shit out of me. Like, I'm not good at, I'm sure everybody was like, woo, but like, once again, if there was like a comic book store in Spain or something, I would be all like, woo. But the fans just like, I'm like, what? I just feel like these ladies are looking for any chance to spend money possible. Anyway, Son's like, I'm going to put you on a timer. How about 3 minutes? It would be great if it was like supermarket sweep then, and Kyle's just frantically running, trying to spend as much on her Amex as possible. Kyle and the Talking Head's like, well, I can do stuff in 3 minutes with Morgan. Wink. No, she did. She goes, I can do stuff in 3 minutes. Trust me. You should see me in my gas station. I know my credit card by heart, so I can just boom, be done. She's now mentioned shopping at the gas station multiple times this season, and it truly worries me. Like, does Kyle not just have a shopping obsession, but an actual spending money at a gas station problem? Dorit's like, the reality is, I have a good eye. Look at PK. No. By the way, I do have to say this season in a Talking Head, maybe don't say you have a good eye when your Talking Head look is completely, it's to me, not one of my favorite Dorit Talking Head looks at all, and would kind of go against having a good eye. She's like, in 3 minutes, I'll be able to see exactly what I like. Wrap it up, pay for it, and be out the door. I was about to make it. Nope, I'm not going to make that joke. That's not right. Sutton and the Talking Head's like, well, I've been shopping with Kyle and Dorit before. And we get a flashback to them shopping at Warp Speed. And Sutton continues in the Talking Head's like, well, if I don't put a time limit on this, we're going to be here for the next week. Oh, and I'm full of pork feet right now. I can't. I got to go to the bathroom. Garcelle, Erica, and Anna Marie catch up and see them. And Garcelle's like, oh, I knew they were in there. No, I want to go into the jewelry store. And Dorit's like, Sutton, this fan is over 300 years old, just like PK. It is beyond. Dorit and the Talking Head's like, who doesn't need a hand-painted antique fan? And she flicks her wrist, and the antique fan is there. She's like, I do. In fact, I need 7. And she pops open 7 gorgeous hand-painted Spanish fans valued at 353 euros. She didn't buy just one, folks. She bought 7. 7 fans. 7 fans. Is she going to auction these off? Like, what? Is this at the next Homeless Not Toothless? It's just a collection of Dorit fans she signed? Anyways, Kyle's shoving rings on her fingers. Like, is this cute? And Son's like, 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Come on. Garcelle now is being shown a silver necklace at Majorca, the Majorca shop, the Majorca. And there's a large dog tag type pendant dangling on it. She's like, I'm going to get this. And it's 155 euros. And the clerk's like, we take American Express. And Garcelle's like, no dollar. And Erica zips over. I have it. Come here. And so Erica pays her. She's like, yeah, pay me back later, sugar mama. Sugar mama right here. And this, by the way, like, it would be great if later in the season, Erica's like, I did you a favor with my Amex, and now you got to do a favor for me. You got to be a character witness in my trial. Or Erica just sues her for money later on. Erica and I talking heads like, look, I like to shop. I just keep thinking, you need to be budget conscious, but I really would love for someone to come in and give me like $100 million right now. Like Tom Girardi used to do. She's like, I need to inspire someone to steal from me again. Yeah. Anyways, Garcelle goes, I'll put out later. And Erica's like, please don't. Which is like, Erica, yes, and or go, yeah, we installed that chef in there. Back at the other shop, Kyle's frantically holding up a bikini top the size, like just like a really tiny little Barbie doll bikini. It's like, I feel like this would fit me. And someone's like, come on, we gotta go. Come on. And Kyle's just like grabbing things. She's like, oh my God. And then Kyle and I talking about it's like, hi, my name's Kyle and I have a shopping addiction. We are like joking about it, but it does feel like she might have an issue, which that would be a great season 14 storyline for Kyle of just like Amazon coming after her for like non-payment. I needed all those ring lights. The ladies arrive back at Catalina Via and go look for Crystal, and Crystal is just on bed. And Erica is shrieking, oh my God, you're back! And Garcelle goes, oh my God, you're loud. And so like, what'd they say? And she's like, well, it was just high blood pressure. And they put her on medication. And she lets us know her family has a history of blood pressure, high blood pressure, hypertension. And it's something that she struggled with. And she didn't realize it could get to this point. And her doctor got involved. Rob called him. She feels just super lethargic right now. And Anna Marie's like, your body went through a lot today. Yeah, and it went through a lot last night when you gave her shit. Erica's like, let me tell you something. We were worried for you, honey. Yeah, we shopped all day. Man, we were shopping just with our worries away. And Erica's like, it's okay. You made it. Because Crystal starts crying. And Anna Marie pulls her in for a big hug. It's like, you did great. And Crystal's emotional and talking head. She's like, it was scary. My dad always told me the signs to watch out for with a stroke. Some people can't come back. And I've never been faced with like my own mortality. How could I leave my young family at 40 years old? Like, if that happened to me, I really appreciate Anna Marie being there for me and putting aside all our differences in a moment that was truly what felt like the bottom for me. But I just want to be okay for my family. Yeah, totally makes sense. And, so everybody's like, you're back. You got to take it easy. She can't drink tonight. And Eric's like, we'll drink for you. And she sure did, folks. And Kyle's like, I can't drink either. Join the club. I'm abstaining. Yeah. And then Erica goes, oh my God, the sober Susies. Now we round robin with all the ladies getting glammed for tonight. Remember, Garcelle brought her glam squad. She's like, we're making paella tonight. And her makeup artist is like, I hear the paella is very authentic. It's not what you're expecting. And Garcelle's like, really? Be open to the paella. Okay, that's a good tip. And then Sutton's in her room's like, well, I think this lip color is pretty. You like it? And the makeup's like, I love it. And Sutton's like, it's making me in a better mood. And the makeup artist is like, yeah, you guys had a crazy day. It's like, well, it is Mercury in retrograde. I say, we didn't do anything to deserve this. It's just the shadow is cast over Mercury and it's going to start turning around. I say, I feel like we as a nation, it's just like the overuse of the word vibes. Like, oh, that's the vibe. I'm feeling the vibe. Mercury in retrograde. Like, I wish I could go back to the time when that really started catching on. Like, I know it's an actual thing, but just like when it, like, what was the thing that got it in everybody's mouth? And now it's all we talk about. Every time my stomach hurts, I'm like, oh, it must be Mercury in retrograde. Crystal is getting ready, takes a FaceTime call from Rob. He's checking in on her. And she's like, I'm going to rally for the paella. They're doing a paella making class. And Rob's like, that sounds fun. That sounds fun. And I've been drinking water nonstop. He's like, good, fluids, take care of yourself. It's just like a nice, normal conversation. Then Kyle is finishing her glam and she gets a call from Mauricio. And Kyle's like, hello. She's already kind of, you can just tell, like every scene with Mauricio is like, it's already like an uphill battle for Mauricio. Like he's like, hello, love bean, hello. And he's like, it looks dark out. Where are you? I'm still in the car, love bean. I'm barking. And we just hear, like glass breaking and, him hitting people with the car. And, there is a loud screeching noise, actually. She's like, wow, where are you? He's like, can you hear me? Can you, like, I can. Are the girls good? The dog's good? The dogs are great. The girls are, and the phone cuts out. And she goes, this is an annoying FaceTime call. Of course it is. I'm going to call Morgan. Clear reception there, baby. By the way, if Morgan had bad reception, she's like, I'm Morgan Wade. It's bad. It's dark here. Oh, it looks sexy dark where you are, Morgan. Thanks, Kyle. I was just doing a sexy song about touching toes and fingertips together nude. Oh my God, I can't wait to hear it. Oh my God, Morgan, you're cutting out, but it's so cute when it cuts out. Oh, I love it. I can watch you cut out over this reception for days. Thank you, Kyle. Oh, sorry. I will say, though, it is so much more fun to talk about scenes or made up scenes in my head with Morgan and Kyle than it is the reality of the Morgan Mauricio scenes. It's just so much more fun because you just sense that tension. Like I've been there. We've all been there with somebody, right? Sutton is ready, leaves her room. She's like, I'm going to bring Mus with me. I'm going to bring Mus. I got to find my friend. And they actually show Merce in this little, box thing. And it says Merce, Sutton's friend. The Chiron comes up. And she's like, Jesus, Lord, mercy, Mary, and Joseph. And then we go to Erica's room, and she's getting her makeup done, and she whispers so no one hears. She's like, so now we're going to have to entertain Sutton's friends out here with the paella cooking. Sutton described them as erudite. Erudite. Anyway, that means sophisticated and educated. And they show us, the Chiron says, erudite, adjective, having or showing great knowledge and learning. And Erica's like, whatever. And then Sutton's walking down the hall holding Merce and going, y'all gonna come to dinner? Oh, come on, I say, let's go. And Sutton like bangs into a wall. And she walks by Garcelle's door and attempts to knock using Merce. And she's like, oh, don't use Merce and knock. Oh, my goodness, what you doing, girl? Garcelle, I say, come on to dinner. Erica is still getting glammed and muttering to her makeup artist. And she's like, she shouldn't have talked to me about those earrings. Reversal of fortune, honey. I told them. More bullshit. Anyway, the camera focuses in on the drink that Erica Jane is holding because she's getting agitated, had a couple drinks, and you can just tell it's like little spiraling, little cocky. And the makeup artist is like, well, that's how it be sometimes. Yeah, that is how it be sometimes. Yeah. And they again focus on the drink in her hand, which is, you got to imagine these cameramen just like really great work when they can even tell what's going on and see what's going on and go, yep, gonna need to do an extra shot of that drink. I see where this is going. Anyways, Eric goes, bottom line is I'm drunk. And the makeup artist is like, yeah, you're drunk. We had lunch. I had an absolute. You guys came over. We had more drinks. And she's gulping her drink. And now I have to go in this courtyard and pretend to be. And the makeup person is like, a paella making master. Yeah. I don't even fucking know how to make a bacon, egg, and cheese. A bouncy song plays as the guests, the erudite guests come up to the villa. Going up, up tonight. And we see Trevor, Sutton's friend, helps the erudites out of the vehicle. They're literally labeled erudites on the Chiron. And Trevor is laughing. He's like, Monica. Well, I got to actually listen to his voice again because I did a good imitation earlier when I was watching it, but I got to remind myself what he sounds like. So Trevor is a Trip, Sutton's friend. He's like, Monica. Okay, we're going in. Hey. And Sutton's inside like, oh, I'm sorry. I like this bag. She's fumbling with her purse. I'm the wuss. And she gets up and hugs Trevor and says like, oh my goodness. I say, did you bring these beautiful people? Yes. Sutton in a talking head's like, I haven't seen Trevor in a few years. We're just going to get in trouble together. I say, it's how I learned words like conflama, which means conflict and drama. And then Sutton goes down the line hugging and kissing all the erudites, and Sutton continues in the talking head and fakachta, which is a Yiddish for fucked up. And she also learned from him what teabagging means. And teabagging, let's look up that definition together as a family. Definition of teabagging. I hope this doesn't put me on any watch lists or any more watch lists. Okay. Teabagging, a container of thin paper or cloth holding a measured amount of tea. No, there's no way that's what that means. Let's dig a little deeper. Okay, here it is. Let's get the kids away. Okay, the act of placing one's testicles in the mouth of another person, often repeatedly raising and lowering it like a person dipping a tea bag. Okay, perfect. Now, I think we all knew that, but it's good. It's good just to reconfirm what that is. Like, I learned what teabagging was. I also taught what that was to Santos. Anyways, the producer's like, what is your opinion on teabagging? And Son's like, well, I say, well, I'm not opposed to it. Sutton, are you saying you are not opposed to somebody teabagging, somebody lightly placing? I even feel I'm just blushing. Sutton, you take that back right now. Anyway, Sutton takes her guests up to the courtyard. There's a beautiful table set up, 13 people, bartender waiting to serve. And Sutton's like, it's so pretty out here, isn't it? Right after I talked about teabagging. And Trevor's like, what do you want? And Sutton's like, well, I think like a martini would be good. And Trevor's like, Dorit and Erica come down. He's like, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Erica, I'm afraid you're going to topple over. And Erica's kind of unsteady in her heels, been drinking. She's like, I shall not. What is your name? I'm Trevor. Oh, you're the one I've been hearing about like crazy all these days. Nice to meet you. We've heard so much about you. So much about you, Trevor. So much about you. And Sutton, she's a beautiful soul. And Dorit and the talking head's like, how can you tell if Erica's drunk? Sutton, you're a beautiful soul. But it's true. I was like, oh my God, I'm stroking out like potentially Crystal did, because I was like, is Erica calling Sutton a beautiful soul? And Erica's like, I was just saying nice things about you, my darling. And Dorit continues in the talking head, that bitch is lathered, I say, hoo-hoo. Anyways, Erica's like, where's your cocktail, Trevor? You should go ahead. And no, you go. No, you should go. No, you're the guest of honor. You should go. No, you should go ahead. And Garcelle and Crystal come down. Hello. And Erica's like, you look beautiful, Garcelle. You look beautiful too, Crystal. Kyle comes down with Anna Marie. They mingle, and Erica's at the bar with Sutton. Is this a vodka soda? It sounds like, oh, you like those? And then Chef Storm, the hottie, strolls out in the courtyard like, hi, ladies, hello. And Erica's like, Storm! Storm! And Storm's like, we're ready for you. And Garcelle goes, you guys, everybody, let's go. And we meet Servius, Chef Storm's father. He's manning the paella grills. And I was already like, oh, here we go. A potential HR violation, because we're going to have a lot of bad, fucking the dad and the son jokes. And I was right. And Garcelle's like, hola, how are you? And he's like, good, how are you? Have you ever had paella before? First time? No, first time. I was like, oh, I was just praying that Garcelle wasn't be like, I'm a paella virgin. You're taking my paella virginity. Anyways, Storm is also at the grills. He's like, well, we also have squid, monkfish. And Garcelle's like, and how long have you been cooking, Servius? And Servius is like, oh, for like 30 years. And I was a chef in the beginning, and then Storm would always help me. He's my son. And Garcelle's like, oh, I thought there was a resemblance. I love that. And Crystal's laughing because she's seen Garcelle flirt. And Garcelle in a talking head's like, I could see myself moving to Spain, learning the language, being with Storm's daddy, and being a stepmom to Stormy. I may need to burp him or breastfeed him. Weirdo. What? Man, I like when women talk like men who drink too much Red Bull and read Maxim magazine back in the 90s. Another female guest of Sutton's friends come to watch and is asking questions. And Garcelle tells Crystal to trip her, like, trip her. And Erica's like, show us your cock. Yeah, I want to see dick. Most of the guests are gathered around, and Servius is preparing the paella while he narrates. He's like, "This will be a seafood paella, and that's a vegetarian one. I always really enjoyed cooking, and now it's loads of fun as well because I can cook with my son." And Sutton calls out to Garcelle, "Well, we got a father and son." And Crystal's like, "She's way past that." And Garcelle's like, "We got to talk." And Crystal's like, "Garcelle called it." And Garcelle's like, "I called it." Sutton and the talking head's like, "I mean, Garcelle will probably win. Her bosoms are bigger than mine. Father and son teams, they're like bigger bosoms, you know. Or I could throw a little bit of I don't mind a teabagging scenario, but who knows? I got Muss to worry about. Muss is in my purse right now. My purse. My purse." So, anyways, Crystal's like, "Garcelle, I heard you had a good conversation with Dorit." "Oh, I did. And we flash back to that conversation. And then to another side, Eric is like, "You know what you did today?" And Anna Marie's like, "What did I do?" "You let your profession run over your personal shit, and it was really nice to see." And Anna Marie's like, "Always. I always do that. The Hippocratic Oath." No, I mean, once again, I'm like, she was nice to. I mean, everybody did the same amount of doctoring on her. Anyways, we flash back to Anna Marie walking into Crystal's room and giving her a hug. Anyways, Crystal and I talking heads like, "Anna Marie was amazing today. I really saw a kind and generous side, and it really makes me want to move forward in our friendship and start fresh." I felt like they knew things weren't going well for old Anna Marie, and so they had to get a bunch of nice comments in here and things like that. Also, Anna Marie said in an interview this week that the reason she was 6 episodes in because they called her in a month after filming started. So I'm wondering if that's A, true, and B, did they think they weren't getting enough good stuff, and so they had to add somebody after they started filming. But yeah, then the two chefs putting the finishing touch on the paella, and Son's like, "It's steamy. This food is so steamy. It's so, ladies, it's horn dogs." And Sutton calls out, "Everybody is ready." And Trevor's like, "I brought him out. He's seated on the ledge." And he means Merce, who's in a baggie in a box. And Sutton's like, "You gotta go get him off a ledge. You go get Merce off the ledge." And Erica Garcelle's like, "Crystal, she's back from the dead." And then Trevor's like, "You did it on purpose, didn't you?" Putting Merce on the ledge. Kyle, left to put on a jacket, returns and sits at the last seat at the head of the table. She's like, "Thank you for joining me this evening." And then Trevor's like, "So, I fully expect you to divulge every single dirty detail about this one. Give me all the teabagging stories you have." And Trevor's like, "She was so mean to me. I was really nice. I tried to get her attention. I'd throw paper clips over my shoulder, and she would say, 'Trevor, stop it now,' in that southern drawl." And Garcelle's like, "We've heard that, Toad." And they have a flashback to Sutton telling Dorit, like, "Let the mouse go. You had your fun. Let it go." And then another scene of like, "Who was in on the joke? Raise your hand." That was with Kathy Hilton and the shots in Aspen. And then, of course, the Sutton to Kyle, "Name them. Name them, name them, name them." And then Kyle exploding, "Let me talk, Jesus." Then Trevor at the table's like, "Sutton always acted like she was in charge, even though she wasn't." And Sutton's like, "Me? I was 26 years old." And Trevor's like, "Sutton lived in Brooklyn." And then Erica goes, "Brooklyn, what a dump." And Kyle's eyes bug out. Sutton in the talking head goes, "Well, I was poor in New York City. I would go to those places and buy like a $5 dress, and I worked, and I was truly independent, I say, and I loved it." And they show us photos from the time Sutton was 27 with her friends. I mean, like, when you're 27, you don't even realize how magical of a time it is. Sutton at the table, like, Trevor would arrange parties for the company in the studio. Dorit and the talking head's like, "I like hearing about young Sutton. Well, I was a studio manager. I was like, we cannot have shoes on the studio floor." You can picture Sutton being 27 years old and kind of bossy and like, "We don't rule break around here." Dorit continues in a talking head, "She was not always very wealthy. She just likes to pretend that she was." Hey, Dorit knows about that. Hey-o. Garcelle's like, "So, Sutton, you haven't met Christian yet?" And Trevor's like, "Yes." And Garcelle's like, "Oh, you had met Christian." That's Sutton's ex-husband. Sutton's like, "Well, I was dating Christian." And we see photos of them. Christian's face is blurred out. Wow, he's really adamant about not being on the show. Kyle's like, "She met him at 14 years old." And Erica's like, 14? Jesus Christ. Jesus Jesus Christo. And Sutton's like, "Well, we had met so many amazing people." And Trevor's like, "It was so much fun being with Mus." And Erica interrupts,
Look, can I say something? I know you love Mus, but Mus was in a Ziploc bag, like cocaine.
Garcelle drops her jaw. Dorit squeals a little. Kyle and I talking heads like, I don't know how many drinks he's had, but Eric is very intoxicated. It's not a good sign. They should have like a special sound effect. It's like, cha-ching, cha-ching, which means it's just good for the show. Dorit and I talking heads like, I'm sorry, but I have to agree with Erica. Mus should not be in a Ziploc. And Kyle and I talking heads like, a little silk pouch or something. Sutton and a talking head, well, this is how people carry ashes, usually in a big plastic bag. Like, you get a goldfish. Like, really? Really? I mean, I did have my mom's ashes, but we had it like a beautiful box already. And that's weird. God, I was thinking about that. That is weird. Because my mom has like a little sleeve at this graveyard where you put her ashes in, but it's in this really nice box. And we put a couple of things. In fact, one of the listeners, Sandra, sent her a beautiful rosary that's actually in the box with my mom's ashes. And a couple of other things are in there too. And yeah, it's wild. It's wild to think Anyways, flashback to 2017 where Kyle is dealing with her mom's ashes and she's like, why are my mom's ashes down there? Oh my God, sorry about that, Mom. Cause they're it was in like a glass area. And Kyle and I talking head, she's like, I got scared. I've seen so many people in movies with people knocking them over and getting vacuumed up. So I put them in the guest bathroom. It's a very beautiful bathroom. I'm like, that's weird too. Like, imagine being a guest at Kyle's, because I'm sure Morgan doesn't sleep in Kyle's bedroom. Wink. No, but Morgan's like, I'm in the guest room. What are those things by the towels? It looks like a lot of ashes, like somebody smoking cigarettes in here. Everyone is eating delicious paella from the father-son duo, and Garcia's like, this is so delicious. And Drew's like, Monica, where are you from? Which is one of the erudite guests. And Monica's like, Philadelphia, but I like to say in the land where Beanie Siegel is king. And Eric is like, Beanie Siegel? And Dre's like, Bean Siegel? And Monica's like, well, do you guys know who Beanie is? And Eric's like, hell fucking yeah, I know. And Monica is like, he's a rapper from Philadelphia that I love. Yeah, I actually know who Beanie Siegel is. Part of me doesn't think Erica truly knows, or like, I don't know. Part of me just didn't buy a lot of this, but whatever. And Dorit's like, Beanie Siegel. Okay, we got to look him up. Maybe little Jagaloo will like him, or little Phoenix. And someone's like, well, so you build buildings in Barcelona, Fernando? And he's like, yes. And so like, cause you have all interesting things that you do, all these erudite people. I'm curious. And Fernando's like, sorry, you're with the number one architect in Barcelona, which is her. And it is Benedetta Tagliabue, who's an architect. And she's like, he's very lovely. He's exaggerating. And Fernando's like, no, I mean, she is an icon. And Bernadetta's like, you have to go visit Santa Catarina Mercado. And they show us an impressive vista view of a large building with an outrageous, wavy, multicolored art roof on it known as Santa Catarina Market that Benedetta was responsible for. I mean, truly amazing work. And Benedetta's like, Amira didn't say anything about herself. And Amira's like, I will. I was born in Sacramento, California, but I grew up in Beirut, Lebanon, Aleppo, Syria, Rabat, Morocco, and Cairo in Egypt. And Garcia's like, wow. And it really is wild. And Amira's like, my father's Lebanese and my mother's Palestinian from Gaza. And Erica's like, so does that make you Muslim or Christian? Because Lebanese are also Christians. Now, Erica's obviously drunk. And, she is trying, like, she does know some of these things, but also it came across a little bit of trying to show that she's worldly as well, like, well, let me tell you about Muslims then, And Amira's like, yep, Sunni Muslim, because we also have many different kinds of Muslims. And Erica's like, right, yeah, Eric and a talking head's like, I'm used to dining and socializing with erudite via Tom Zerani. I didn't get the opportunity to go to college, so I have a high school education, but I have a genuine thirst. I mean, she just has a genuine thirst overall. Just to know things, just a genuine thirst. Erudites, they love to talk, so just ask a bunch of questions, provided they're not stuck up and not looking down on you. That cool. It is weird. It's like, or maybe just participate in the conversation because you want to, Erica. Amira continues, I'm an urban planner and I worked downtown Beirut after the Civil War. And Garcia's like, oh my God. And Amira's like, in the 80s, there was a 15-year Civil War. And Erica's like, right. And Amira's like, they worked on a seed bank in Aleppo, Syria. And Erica's like,
coming out of the Fertile Crescent, right?
And Amira's like, Fertile Crescent, exactly. Which I was even like, damn. And Garcelle was like, what? Zoinks? And Erica's like,
I was told that Beirut was almost like Los Angeles in the sense that it was the sea to the mountains and the snow.
and America's like, exactly. And Erica's like,
Still civil war there. Yeah.
Crystal and Talking Heads like, I don't know what happens to Erica when she gets drunk, but she suddenly becomes like the world's oracle. It's like,
Hello, everybody. I'm fucked up, but I do know how to solve a financial crisis, and we would all invest in 8.3 APR percent bonds. No.
anyways, Amira's like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Gamran Khalil Gibran, the prophet. And Erica's like,
Of course, yeah. He's one of the rappers with Beanie Siegel.
no. But she says she knows him, and Trevor's like, who are you? And Garcelle's like, it's impressive. And Dorit and Talking Heads like, it's like watching drunk Rain Man. I mean, woohoo. I love that Dorit's like, Erica's autistic when she drunks. Sutton's like, well, y'all, this is just a complete pleasure, you know. And she picks up and holds Merce. And Erica's like,
Merce is in the past. Yeah, Merce is Beanie Siegel. I'm rhyming. Merce is in the past. On sounding turns. Yeah.
and Sutton chuckles. She's like, oh, listen. Kyle hides behind her purse because she's like, oh my God, this is wild. Garcelle's in a talking head laughing. I could watch this all night. And Sutton continues, Muss has been with me now for over 10 years. As my son pointed out, I can't wait to spread Muss around and hear this beautiful sea. I say compliments to our chefs tonight. We scared away Storm and his father, you know, because we were threatening to fuck him. And, and then Garcelle's like, well, I think Storm's father's in my room. And Son's like, we'll all find out later, Garcelle, right? And Erica's like,
when you're finished, give him a Viagra and send him in my room. I want sloppy Garcelle seconds. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Cervase's daughter is cleaning up at the next table, listening to all this. Anyways, Fernando stands a toast, like, everybody stand up. And Garcelle's like, everybody stand up. And they all go, Viva España, and clink their glasses and cheers. And Son's like, oh, I love that. Erica drowns her drink and she goes,
good night. Thank you very much.
Because like just a second ago, she had her head on the table and cameras are watching Erica kind of stumble. And she's like,
oh, shit. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Oh.
And Kyle's like, it was a pleasure. It was nice meeting everybody. Yeah, okay. And then Erica's in their room. She's like,
wait, where's Garcelle? Where's Garcelle?
Garcelle's like, I'm in here. Are we getting together? And Erica's like,
girl, what's going on?
And Erica now has put on sunglasses and she's jumping on Garcelle's bed. And Garcelle laughs like, oh, I don't know what's going on with you.
That's a cute room. Can I see your boobs?
And Kyle found chocolate. She's like looking for chocolate and she finds it. She's eating it. And eating my Morgan's Theory bead. I wrote this note that I don't even know what means. Eating my Morgan's Theory bead for me? Eating my Morgan Theory. Oh, maybe eating my Morgan thought. I don't know what I meant by that note. Anyways, Garcelle to Erica's like, I love that dress, Erica.
You know what? It turned out good.
Garcelle's like, it's so good, so get comfy. And she's trying to get Erica out of her room to go change. And Erica is done like a fun Erica dance, which is like, we don't even know what a fun Erica dance looks like. So it's like weird. And it's probably weird for all the ladies of like, what the fuck is going on? She's all like happy dancing. We've just seen her like miserable. Garcelle's like, by the way, you surprised me so damn much.
How?
How did you know all that stuff? And Kyle's like, she was literally blowing everybody's mind. She's a damn genius. Which also leads me to remind people, and myself included, like we throw that word genius around way too much lately. Erica's like,
I've been fortunate enough to know a lot of smart people and ask a lot of questions and things like that.
And Garcelle's like, okay, well, you'll have to leave because the chef's dad's coming over. JK, but not really. Kyle's like, bye. And Erica's like,
serious?
And Garcelle's like, no, I'm kidding. I wish. Back in the courtyard, the guests are still mingling before their departure. And Trevor to Sutton's like, you were kind of a goody two-shoe. And Sutton like, well, I wasn't a goody two-shoe. Well, you were not as comfortable in your own skin as you are today. And Sutton's like, no. You have come into your own. And Sutton's like, thank you. Well, that's what I always call you, lady. Because I knew you were just going to grow up and be a beautiful lady. It's actually a very nice scene. Like, I really like Trevor, and you could tell it was just one of those nice moments that you hope life gives everybody, because you can tell it means something to Sutton. And the passage of time, you can see Sutton thinking back to who she was in her 20s in New York, and Sutton's like, thank you. And Trevor's like, you're right where you're supposed to be. And Sutton's like, well, so is Mus. So is he. Well, he's right where he's supposed to be, on top of my Dolce and Gabbana. It's very sparkly. He would like it. And she's like, ha, ha, ha. And he's like, ha, ha. And Son's like, well, you got to go. I got things to do tomorrow, Trevor. And the scene fades. And that was a really fun dinner party. It's a bright and sunny morning, and everyone's waking up. Erica peers into Kyle's room looking pretty rough. And she's like, my head hurts. She's back to being a fucking idiot.
I can't spell. I don't know. What the fuck is a crescent? Fertile crescent? I don't know what. I only know crescent rolls.
Kyle laughs. Oh my God, you are so funny. I'm dead.
What did I do?
Well, you solved the economic crisis. We get a flashback to 12 hours earlier where Erica's like,
Son's a beautiful soul.
anyways.
Mus in the bus.
Garcelle goes into Crystal's room, like, what do you have? And Crystal's like, my machine. And it's her like blood pressure machine. And Crystal's like, I feel good. I feel a little bit slow. I wonder if it's all the medication. And then Garcelle in the talking head says, having high blood pressure is something that you have to stay on top of. And I know that it runs in my family. She's just going to need to calm down. If she gets riled up, that's not going to help. It's still high. It reads 151 over 110. And that's, still high. Garcelle in the talking head says, Crystal just started the medication yesterday, so it takes a while. And Garcelle is to Erica. Garcelle's like, oh my God, Erica, she was so funny last night. And Crystal's like, Sutton was not happy. And Garcelle like goes, oh no, I didn't think Sutton was that mad. Anyways, Kyle sees Sutton in the hall, and Kyle's like, oh my God, these are not pajamas you sleep in, obviously. Is that what you're wearing today? And so it's like, no. And Kyle's like, you sleep in those? The pajamas are silk button up with pants that are encrusted with crystals lining the collar and sleeves and edges. Thank you, Juliana. These are perfect teabagging pajamas. Sutton ignores Kyle's questions like, I deliver flowers in these. And she has a box of flowers in her arms. She pulls out a wreath of flowers like a lei, and Sutton's like, well, so this is the flower of Spain. I'll say, so we're going to wear these. And she hands one to Kyle, and she smells it. And then when we want to release whatever's inside of us, with the Mus ceremony, we're going to send them off into the ocean, these flowers. Think about how I was thinking about when I saw this, how many housewife ceremonies I've sat through. Like, I was thinking about the Jersey one after Teresa's mom passed away and after she got out of jail. Like, I would just say all the ceremonies we've seen throughout the ages in Housewives. Anyway, Suddenly they're talking about, she's like, well, this ceremony is so important to me. I'm going to release Mus's ashes that I've been holding on to. And for the other women, I want them to think about something maybe that they've internalized that they need to release. Thank God Garcelle's like, I'd like to internally release Storm's dad and Storm. Anyway, Sutton hugs Kyle. Well, I know you've had a year. She continues in the talking head. I think we've all had this opportunity to share something to bring us closer together. And Kyle's like, I didn't know this spiritual side of you. And Sutton's like, well, yeah, now you know. I say. Dorit's getting glammed and she's on FaceTime and calling home. It's like, my love, I can't see you, baby. Jackaloo. You got your game today. How are you feeling? He's like, good, mommy, good. Dorit in the talking head. PK's in London. My mom's with the kids and my kids are fine. But I don't travel much. Why couldn't PK just be home? So at least one parent's home. I would have liked that. Also, by the way, PK did do a real estate TV show in London, so I think that's why he's there. But, the dog barks and she's like, hello, Pumpkin. Pumpkin, it is me, Dorit, your mother. He can hear my voice. Anyways, Garcelle's like, our night was good to our makeup artist. We went into the town, into Barcelona. It was just nice to see more of the town. And then Sutton is getting dressed. She's like, why am I losing it? Because she's crying, why am I losing it? And we see a shot. She has like clown shoes on. And her stylist is like, it's okay. It's emotional. I think you're underestimating how emotional this all is. And Kyle comes in her room. What happened? Well, I'm losing it. What's wrong? I don't want to open the ashes. And Kyle's like, wait, what are you talking about? What's happening? What's wrong? And she and Sutton hug and Sutton cries more. And she's like, tell me what's wrong. Well, I think that there's a lot of my dad wrapped up in this. There's a lot of my dad wrapped up in this. And Kyle's listening. She's like, I'm sorry. And Sutton's crying. That's okay. When I lost my dad, we spread them in Texas, but we each had like a Ziploc and I lost it. I moved so many times after he died. Wow. She lost her dad's ashes. And Kyle's like, it's okay. It's okay. He's watching over you and he's not thinking about it. And Sutton's like, and Mus and my dad together. And Sutton in a talking head, she's like, they're not just Mus's ashes. They're symbolic of my father's ashes. Mus was one of the first people who called me when my dad died with Trevor. So all these things are going on in my head. And Sutton's like, I feel like I'm also scattering my marriage's ashes. And Kyle's like, I get that. And Sutton's like, it's symbolic of a big part of my life. I was so angry for so long about the divorce, and it just consumes you. And Sutton and I talking heads, like, near the end of my relationship with Christian, I thought it was a good idea if we separated, go into couples therapy together, work on our marriage. Once he moved out, he filed that emoji with the brain that's exploding. That was me getting a call from my husband telling me I needed to get an attorney. And Sutton to Kyle's like, and now he's leaving, he's moving, and I am yo solo, I'm alone. And Sutton continues in a talking head. I guess I have a lot of suppressed emotions, my marriage, my dad's death, and then Merce. You can't name any more three important men ever in my life, and I got to let him go. And she's holding back tears in the talking head. I'm 52. I have to be the 24-year-old girl who moved to New York. She pauses again. And Kyle's like, being alone can feel lonely sometimes, but also can feel good sometimes too, maybe. And Sutton's like, this is not me. And Kyle's like, I know. And she hugs Sutton again. And that was another beautiful, fucking powerful scene. If you didn't feel something in there, like, check it again. Like that, like, for all my smart ass bullshit, like, that actually meant, like, that spoke to me. Like, I just, damn. Like, I thought that was, yeah, like, all of those things they can wrap up into, like, and I hope this spreading the ashes is symbolic for, like, the ashes that, of her fathers that she misplaced, and her, and sometimes letting go of things is just so hard. It's so hard. We carry it so deeply with us. And, I mean, it just, even the talking about her husband, and we finally got a little bit more information about that, of like, oh, I thought we'd go into couples counseling, and then he moved out, and then he filed. And, wow, wow, wow. I mean, it really moved me. But, these things, everything is wrapped up in grief. And I think, what, she's 52, 53, and I get so many nice messages about my mom and everything. I talk about this now every week, and I know it probably gets old, but it is one of those things. It's like you wake up to it a little bit more each week. It seems like it kind of opens up a little bit more to you about how you felt or what you went through. And, the previous year of just what a fucking mess. Like, I'm so shocked I was able to, and it's not here, believe me, it's not like, I'm shocked personally that I was able to keep doing the show. But at the same time, it was my life raft in a lot of ways, or it was the only thing that I kind of felt like I could actually express myself or escape from things that I was potentially running away from. And it's just wild. Like, what I was thinking about? I was watching this scene, and I thought immediately about how on my phone, and this is something, it's like, you see, let's see here, like, you see right up here, my pinned text is my mom, and she's been my pinned text for like years now. And it has her picture here. And I, remember when this picture was taken, and she's cheersing, and she has a really great smile on her face. And the thing though is that what I've been debating is removing that off my, my pinned text, so I don't see it the first thing when I look at my text. Because what'll happen is you'll go to check your text or something, and I'll see that, and the human brain, or my human brain, there'll be that second where I'll be like, oh shit, I got to text mom. Like, it'll be like I've forgotten, but I mean, we're talking like the quickest second where you're like, oh yeah, I got a busy day, I got to text her. And then you realize, oh, dummy, like, no. And then you kind of get bummed out about that. So I'm like, oh, maybe remove that. I mean, because you're not removing the memories, and you're not removing that, but you're removing that thing that can, like, kind of flatten you, like a, getting run over by a train in the middle of a day to, when you're not even thinking about it. But like scenes like that, I think that's where the magic of these shows lay. It's like when you can have something where we can make fun of Erica drinking and how ridiculous that was, and then have these open conversations where it actually makes you think about your own life, and think about what you're holding on to, and think about the guilt that you feel about certain things in your life. And, marriage is lost, and, and I lost the dog, I lost Brooklyn last year. And it was just like one thing after another. And I don't know. This episode really fucking did it for me. Did it do it for you guys? Like it was silly, meaningful. It was really good. Really good. Anyways, next week on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the group is in a sprinter headed to the beach. And they're talking about Trevor's like, last week it was bear week here. And Garcella's like, what's a bear? And Erica's like,
A fuzzy gay man with a lot of hair and muscles.
Erica's really killing it this season. And then we have the group standing at with the flower wreaths at the ceremony. And she's like, it's been a long time. I got to release the pain. And she pours the ashes over the edge, but the wind blows it in the wrong direction. And so Merce is on everybody's purse. And, which is just so, I can't wait to see what everybody's reactions to that. And then we have Garcelle like saying something like, you said you weren't sure if you trusted this group. And Eric's like,
Trust is something I've always said this is earned.
and then Kyle to Mauricio in a scene, where are you off to right now? I have 2 separate showings, Love Bean. And then Kyle to Dorit going, he has to say yes because the agency's expanding so much. So if we're having an issue, why can't you give that energy that you give to the company to me? And then Kyle and I talking head going, if there's no effort, then we're not going to end up together. Yeah. So that's where we end it. You guys, what a great, fun episode. I hope you have the best weekend ever. You made it. Have something good to drink, something good to eat, watch something good, read something great, listen to music, tell people you love them, kiss somebody with their permission, dance, take some time for yourself, and then meet me back here early Monday morning for an all new pop culture roundup. Catch up on all the shows and download them. Just, listen to it in an emergency, in a pinch. If your blood pressure goes up, listen to them. And I'll talk to you guys next week, and I'll talk to some of you sooner over there on Patreon. Thank you guys. Goodbye.